So in the last class, we have discussed up to the question that what do we understand by patch management? And we have seen that patch management is that suppose any upgradation or any update taken place that needs to be done on all over the system in that particular network. That is actually meant by patch management. Then one important trick. Actually, this is not a question, but this is a trick regarding BIOS. Okay, BIOS configuration means how would you reset a password protected BIOS configuration? But you know that is not easy because what BIOS is used for booting, right? BIOS is a pre-boot system, so it has its own storage mechanism for setting and preferences. So how you will reset that password? For that, what you have to do, you have to pop out the CMOS battery so that the memory storing the settings lost its power supply, and whenever it lost its power supply, so everything should be done from the beginning. So as a result, it will lose its setting, and in that case, you will get the chance to reset the password. Okay, so that is regarding BIOS configuration to change the password. Then MITM attack, we have discussed many times in our previous lectures. MITM means what? Sometimes you will get just MITM. MITM means what? Man in the middle attack. Remember, man in the middle attack. So in cyber security or in this type of domains, we shortly call it as MITM. So MITM is a type of attack where the hacker places himself in between the communication of two parties and steal the important information. Now, suppose there are two parties, A and B, having a communication. Then the hacker joins this communication. He impersonates as party B to A and impersonates as a party A in front of B. What does it mean? Means the hacker will show his identity as B in front of A. Means this is A and this is B and this is hacker. This hacker will show his identity as B in front of A and as A in front of B. Okay. So what happened? Then it will collect all the data from A that actually mean to be sent to B. Similarly, it may collect all the information from B, which is actually meant to A. Okay, so the data from both the parties are sent to the hacker, and the hacker redirects the data to the destination party after stealing the data required. So this is a very dangerous attack, of course. While these two parties think that they are communicating with each other, but in reality, what happens? They are communicating with the hacker. Now, how we can prevent this MITM attack? First of all, you all know that VPN is the best solution in this case. Then you may apply strong encryption policy. Then IDS, and you will of course going to use HTTPS instead of HTTP. Okay, and about the HTTPS and HTTP, we discuss it, you know that. Then public key pairs based authentication, because you know in case of private, although that is easy to implement, but it is somehow means vulnerable. So it is recommended always that you should go for public key. And why? What is the reason behind? Because you will get an extra layer of security. In public key cryptography, you will get private key as well as public key. I hope you are not forgetting about these things that we have discussed already. Okay? Clear about MITM attack? So
Yes, sir.
I'm coming to the next one, that is DDoS, that is also discussed. Same thing like the denial of service, but this thing is now happening with respect to distributed system. Okay, and about the distributed system means whenever we are using more than one place to keep our data, and means this means to say suppose you are using more than one site, more than one server to keep the data, so that there is a means less chance of losing your data and easy to access. And many benefits are there. Many benefits are there regarding this distributed system. And if the denial of service attack happens in case of the distributed system, then we call it as a DDoS. So this causes the servers to refuse to provide services to the genuine clients. Okay. Actually, what it actually does, it will make the server busy with some unnecessary kind of things or some spam things, so that the server will not be able to respond to the genuine client. Now, this can be classified into two. First one is flooding attacks, and next one is crash attacks. So we got that DDoS may be either flooding or either crash attack. So flooding attacks means what? Here, hacker sends a huge amount of traffic to the server, which the server cannot handle. Same thing like denial of service, but in this case, the attack is taking place at the server, the distributed system is being connected to. Okay, then the server will not be able to handle that huge amount of traffic, and hence the server stops functioning. This type of attack is usually executed by using automated programs that continuously send packets to the server. इतना पैकेट्स भेज दो कि सर्वर उसी को मतलब उसी में बिजी हो जाए, and it is not going to respond to the genuine client's package. So that is flooding. Okay, flooding attack. I mean flooding of IP package. Flooding of IP package. Okay. The next thing is crash attacks. Here the hackers exploit a bug on the server, resulting the system to crash, and hence the server is not able to provide service to the client. तो यहाँ क्या हो रहा है? The hacker will try to find out any bug that may be present in that server. So if it can find out the bug and it can exploit it, so automatically it will result in the crash of that server. So in that way, that server will not be working, so it fails to provide service to the client. So we have seen that flooding and crash attacks, these are the two ways that DDoS attack may take place in case of a distributed system. Now, to prevent this type of DDoS attack, you need to use some anti-DDoS service. Today's first question is, you need to mention few such anti-DDoS services. Okay, then configure firewalls and routers, use front-end hardware, use load balancing. Load balancing is a very important term. If time permits, we'll discuss it in some other classes. Then handle spikes in the traffic. So you today find out some anti-DDoS services. Next, again, one more question that all have to obtain is, you need to mention or you need to write some provisions of cyber law. You know, we have discussed about the cyber law. Cyber law means those laws, suppose any cyber crime taken place, so then how to deal with such type of crimes. So you need to mention few provisions of cyber law. Then XSS attack and how to prevent it. XSS means what? Cross-site scripting. Can anybody tell me what does it mean by cross-site scripting? Have you heard about cross-site scripting?
No, sir. No, sir.
Did you get the paper web technology?
No, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So you will get it, no doubt. Okay, in the web technology paper, I think so that web technology paper will be included, or suppose in cloud computing also this portion will be discussed. So XSS is a cyber attack that enables hackers to inject malicious client-side scripts into. You already know that we have client-side scripting or means your server-side scripting. Both of them together, cross-site scripting. Okay. Now what happens? XSS will enable hackers to inject some malicious client-side script into the web pages. Okay. What I'm talking about? Client shell scripts. Now, XSS can be used to hijack sessions. You know that everything in our web, we have some sessions. आप लोगों को याद होगा, you have already got it, session layer, presentation layer. So if that means session as a whole will be hijacked, then it will be very easy to steal the cookies, modify the DOM, okay, then remote code execution, and overall as a result crash the server. So XSS जो है, this is a kind of cross-site scripting. क्यों cross-site बोल रहा हूँ मैं? क्योंकि देखो, first of all we are attacking the client-side script. Okay, we are injecting some malicious code into the client-side script. So as a whole, with that you can hijack the session. जब hijack the session किया आपने, then obviously you may steal the cookies जहाँ पे सारे information रहता है जो access कर रहा है, right? Document object model, then remote code execution, and this information that hacker will use to crash the server. Okay, so how to prevent this type of attack? You need to validate the user inputs. You need to sanitize user input. Sanitize का मतलब ये है, first of all you will validate the user inputs, क्योंकि ये जो user inputs है, either this may be coming from that means hijack or hijack session side. means see session मतलब ये हो रहा है, मैं फिर से एक बार समझा ही देता हूँ आप लोगों को. एक सेशन में दोनों साइड से स्क्रिप्टिंग हो रहा है, क्लाइंट एंड सर्वर साइड से, ठीक है. नाउ आपने पूरा सेशन को ही हाईजैक कर लिया, तो वो हैकर क्या करेंगे तब? जो इंफॉर्मेशन है, whatever the information we have from that session, it will use that hacker will use that information. तो उसमें से सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है? कुकीज है. कुकीज में आपका सारे इंफॉर्मेशन रहेगा, ठीक है. DOM को मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं. तो ये सब मॉडिफाई करके जो हैकर है, he will send his own input means data to that server side. तो अभी क्या होगा, अगर ये इनपुट को आप वेरीफाई नहीं करोगे, तो there is a chance that with this input the hacker may crash that server. So if you validate the input and check that whether this input is okay or not, means sanitize the input, then in that way you can stop the XSS attack. If you see that this or the inputs is not trustworthy, you will stop that. So that is actually meant by the sanitization of user input. Now encode special characters, anti-access service, बहुत सारे चीज रहता है, anti-access services भी होते हैं आपका. You don't need to go through it. You just need to know that what is XSS attack and how it takes place, and at least these two things: validate the user inputs and sanitize the user input. Okay. The next thing is ARP. See, we don't have lot of time left because only I think 1 or 2 days left for the class. So that's why I am trying to include as many questions as possible for cybersecurity class. Now, ARP. Have you heard about this ARP? ARP means Address Resolution Protocol. जैसे आपके पास IP एड्रेस होता है, इसी तरह आपके सिस्टम का एक क्या होता है, फिजिकल मैक एड्रेस भी होता है. मैंने पढ़ाया था, यू मे रिकॉल इट. याद आ गया आप लोगों को? मैंने मैक एड्रेस में कैसे अटैक हो सकता है ये भी बताया था आप लोगों को in my classes. So this ARP is a protocol for mapping an IP address to physical machine address. Okay, IP address है, IP address to MAC address. Now this mapping is done with the help of this ARP. When an incoming packet destined for a host machine on a particular local area network arrives at a gateway, the gateway asks the ARP program to find a physical host or MAC address that matches the IP address. आपको याद होगा, I told you already that IP address may not be unique. IP address एक से ज़्यादा हो सकता है. Are you all agree with that? Yes or no? Because if you switch to some different network, you will get a different IP address. But your MAC address is same. Your physical address is same. So it is required that with respect to a particular IP address, what is that particular machine address or MAC address? So इसी चीज के लिए हम यूज करते हैं ARP. Now ARP programs look into the ARP cache. If it finds the address, provides it so that a packet can be converted to the right packet length and format and sent to the machine. If no entry is found for that particular IP address, ARP broadcasts a packet request to in a specific format to all the machines on the LAN to see if one machine knows that it has that IP address associated with it. दो चीज हो रहा है. आईपी एआरपी प्रोग्राम में क्या हो रहा है? फर्स्ट उसने एआरपी कैचे चेक किया. एआरपी कैचे में सारे चीज रहेगा, मींस एवरी फ्रीक्वेंस एक्सेस जो फिजिकल एड्रेस है वो एआरपी कैचे में रहेगा. ठीक है. If that ARP program finds that for that particular IP address that is the machine address, then it will send there. Otherwise, if no entry is found for that specific address, it will just broadcast a specific request packet to all in a specific format, so that if any machine in that LAN identifies that it is the IP address that it is associated with, then it will send its physical address and thereby packet will be delivered. So in that way, the ARP works. Address resolution protocol. Okay. Now, next thing is port blocking. Now, you already got that how much important the concept port is. हमने बहुत बार port के बारे में discuss किया है और पहले भी आपको बताया था कि port में क्या कर सकते हो? Attack कर सकते हो. For that, you need to find out the open ports, and in that way, you can attack it. Similarly, ORX is a port blocking within LAN. So restricting the users from accessing a set of services within the local area network is known as port blocking. Obviously, आप खुद ही सोचो, जैसे जितने भी processes हैं आपका, every process has some port. Yes or no? अगर यही port को आपने block कर दिया, restrict कर दिया, तो क्या वो जो services हैं access कर पाएंगे, या तो users क्या ये services मतलब services मिल पाएगा उन लोगों को? नहीं. Because if you means block that port, no services will be means carried out with respect to that port. So in that way, you can restrict the users from accessing a set of services within that local area network. Okay, and this technique is known as port blocking. Now, stopping the source not to access the destination node via ports, as the application works on the port, so ports are blocked to restrict the access, filling up the security holes in the network infrastructure. I hope you got it. What is port blocking? Just terms ko yaad rakho. Terms are very important. Now, some protocols we have been associated with our TCP/IP internet layer. See, actually not the internet. I have mentioned here application transport internet data link physical network. So physical layer में आपको दिखाई दे रहा है यहाँ पे IEEE 802.3 है. So can you tell me what does it mean by IEEE 802.3? Remember, I have discussed this in one of my previous class. IEEE format. What is that? IEEE 802.3 means क्या है? इथरनेट है. ठीक है. और डोसेस आप लोगों को फाइंड करना है. मैक के लिए क्या होगा IEEE का फॉर्मेट, एंड वायरलेस के लिए क्या होगा. और IEEE 802.11 क्या है? IEEE, all of you can listen to my voice, right? My voice is audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Go through the questions that I have given to you. Very important. Okay. IEEE 802.11 क्या है? IEEE 802.6 क्या है? और IEEE 802.3, as I have mentioned, this is used for Ethernet. Okay. तो ये जितने भी layers है, देखो applications, transport, internet, data link, physical, इन सब के लिए कुछ कुछ protocols है जो आपको जानना चाहिए. Like physical के लिए Ethernet, token ring, RS-232. data link में जो है ये ज़्यादा यूज करते हैं PPP, IEEE 802.2. देन इंटरनेट लेयर में हम क्या यूज करते हैं? IP, ARP, ICMP. ओके, इंटरनेट कंट्रोल मैनेजमेंट प्रोटोकॉल. देन ट्रांसपोर्ट में ऑब्वियसली हम कनेक्शन लेस एंड कनेक्शन ओरिएंटेड, सो UDP एंड TCP. देन एप्लीकेशन में हम सारे चीज यूज करते हैं लाइक DNS, Telnet, FT, RLogin, RSS, RCP, RIP, ARGA, DICSC, SNMP, and others. Okay, news, NFS, and SNMP. This is important. So these are the protocol under TCP/IP layered system. Okay. So the next thing I will discuss in the next class. So I think up to this, everything is clear, and the questions that I have asked, you just go through it, you write down for comments, and then the questions like this one, the cyber loss. For that, you need to actually do some study. Study means we discuss it, but you need to know that how to write it. Like this question I have mentioned here, queue provision of cyber node. Don't just elaborate it, you just mention it like point wise, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so I hope this is sufficient for you.